Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emmett, I think I'm real, and you're watching another installment of Internet Explorer. Today's story is kind of a tragedy, but it also kind of isn't. How are you supposed to feel when terrible things happen to a terrible person? That is the question that you will be confronted with today, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. I guess it depends on ideology and whose side you're on. Because when the ghetto thug Michael Brown Jr. was justifiably killed by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, not only did people express sympathy for him and his family, but people protested, rioted, and threatened Darren Wilson's life. People, including non-black people, were sad and pissed off about what happened. Even though Michael Brown was a terrible person.
When Long Islander Chris Morgan walked into his local bagel boss on the morning of July 10th, 2019, he didn't expect to walk out as a laughingstock of the internet, but these things usually play out in unexpected ways. You may or may not remember Chris Morgan as the bagel boss or the angry bagel guy. Sort of a flash-in-the-pan meme about this guy that's not quite 5 foot tall, getting the shit absolutely beaten out of him at a bagel store immediately after giving all the patrons and the workers this furious, misogynistic rant about women on dating sites. Well, if you do remember him, what you might not know is that the story doesn't end there. Before we continue, it's important that we take a second and collectively witness the fateful episode that led to Chris Morgan's infamy in its entirety. I found two videos at two different angles which should give us plenty of context as to how Morgan earned the title of the Angry Bagel Guy. Let's watch.
Why is it okay for women to say, oh, you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead? That's okay?
Who said that to you here? Nobody.
Women in general have said it on dating sites. You think I'm making that shit up? Yeah. Everywhere I go, I get the same fucking smirk with the biting lip. Shut your mouth. You're not God or my father or my boss. Dude, you want to step outside? You want to step outside? Huh? I'm not scared, pal. I know. You shut up, too. You shut the fuck up. Go ahead and attack me, big.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I just wanted bagels. I recorded the whole thing.
3 times my size. That's okay?
Get your food in.
What happened? What, I'm sorry?
Get your food in.
You know what?
There's no need to play.
You think that's funny? That's funny? You think that's funny? All you women drink shit now. Oh yeah! Yeah, oh yeah!
You want to go.
No, you women need to stop eating some stuff.
A couple of things to note. So when that woman asks him who in the shop told Chris that he should be dead for being less than 5 feet tall, he stumbles. You see, he knows that he's wrong, but the fire of his righteous fury is burning so brightly that it just cannot be extinguished.
Actually, Emmett was wrong. Chris never claimed that anyone in the bagel store said that. He said that women on dating sites say that. Chris made that claim before the female employee asked who said that to him while he was in the bagel store. And he's right. Women do say shit like that on dating sites and on social media. Chris felt that a woman disrespected him based on how he looked because at the time that he ordered his food, there wasn't any other apparent reason to smirk at him. When someone is amused while looking at you and you are not behaving in a way that is amusing, then it must be your looks that they are smirking at. If it's not behavior, then what else would it be? And the thing that stands out about Chris's image is how short he is. I've been getting shitted on for being short for over a decade. So I know the facial expressions that Chris was referring to. Call him misogynistic all you want, but it's not morally wrong for short guys to hate the people that hate us. Especially since women can say whatever bigoted remarks that they want about short men without any legal or social repercussions.
I love the way he slams his breakfast on the ground and then goes back. Picks it up again. Oh. Now listen, let this be a testament to my dedication to these videos because I managed to find the exact order. Apparently he ordered a whole wheat bagel with 1 egg white and Swiss cheese, which he didn't pay for. Boom! Internet Explorer, that's good content.
And then you went back and you're like, no, I paid for this bagel. This is my bagel.
Back to one like this, look, I walk back. She hands the bagel, like, here's your bagel in a bag. I says, I don't fucking want it. Boom! And I smacked it in the fucking air. And then I says, you know what? I'll take it. I paid for it. I paid for it.
When people go viral, especially during a particularly compromising episode like this one, it isn't atypical for the subject of the video to try and defend him or herself. Consider the woman in this viral video who was the recipient of the cleanest uppercut known to man after she assaulted a bus driver.
You going to jail? You going to jail?
God damn! She later made an appearance during a local news segment where she refused to admit that she struck the driver first and did what little she could to defend her dignity.
What can you say about your role? Did you hit him?
No, see, that's why I want to talk to my lawyer. I can't answer that question. I'm sorry, but it's more to that. It's not just like, it's more to that.
Chris Morgan would attempt the same thing, offering curious onlookers his side of the story. The big difference here is that Morgan would keep going way past his 15 minutes in order to launch an entire brand off of his viral rant video in a bagel store.
Did he seriously compare that bus incident to the Chris Morgan incident? Artis Hughes was publicly demonized, jailed, fined, and fired for what he did. So unlike the guy who assaulted Chris, Artis Hughes reaped consequences for his actions. And the Regional Transit Authority did not mock Shedia Lane like Bagel Boss mocked Chris Morgan.
So let's step back a little bit. Let's really start with the immediate aftermath of the video. After Twitter user Olivia Bradley88 posted the video of Morgan on July 10th, it garnered just shy of 27 million views, and the dunking came swift. Only 2 hours after the incident exploded across the internet, the owner of the restaurant, which is called Bagel Boss, tweeted a message from Bagel Boss. After today's incident, everyone is okay. Use caution on dating sites, and anyone who comes into our locations and mentions this video can get a free mini bagel. The story was picked up by the Long Island Press, the New York Post, NBC New York, and every other news outlet that you can think of by day's end. The Bagel Boss was a household name. The next morning, July 11th, 2019, Chris Morgan was on New York's premier hip-hop and rap radio station, Hot 98.7, to call into their talk show to give his side of the story.
Wife, I mean, it's just been an Indian woman was trying to help me, and she almost didn't understand. It seemed to me, at least, she didn't understand the concept of egg whites. You know, I can cook on both sides. It was a regular bagel with cheese on it with eggs, and I had to tell her 3 times. And I've noticed that, considering immigrants are taking this world over, everywhere you go.
No, Chris, this isn't the route you want to go down, Chris.
Don't do that,
Chris. We were trying to hear your side. Feel bad for you. Don't go. You don't want to do that, my friend.
So anyway,
He did.
okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So anyway.
The host also asked him if he'd ever been married, and the response is pretty comical.
Now, Chris, hang on, Chris, one second. Let's talk this down a notch. Have you ever been married, Chris?
Yeah, but can I finish my story?
Yeah,
she goes and she's...
He just glides right past that point. I wish he would have extrapolated, because his marriage, or his divorce, is likely a cause of most of his anger. You see, he was married in 2007 and divorced in 2012, which might explain Chris's disillusionment with women.
He glided past it because that point doesn't disprove anything that he said in that bagel store. After all, he said women in general. And obviously, in general, does not mean all. Furthermore, listen to some of what Chris said in one of his interviews.
You were married at one point?
I was, yeah. That was my fault, yeah.
Oh, it was your fault? Oh,
really? Most of it was my fault. I was having trouble holding jobs, and my anger was worse. And
worse than now?
Well, yeah, because I'm not going to get into why. There were other reasons why, but she was a wonderful woman, and I screwed that up. But I bumped into her 6 years after I was giving out my flyers for my cleaning company, and she seemed happy to see me. She's re-engaged, and I says, I'm so grateful to God. I want to tell you this opportunity. I says, you know, I says, you know, it was mostly me. Don't take the blame. And she says, don't worry about it. And I says, no, it's important for me to tell you. And when I left that day, I started crying because I was so thankful I had the opportunity to get that closure on it, you know. But
he didn't sound bitter about his marriage ending, and he even bluntly admitted that the divorce was his fault. A much more likely assertion is that he used a dating app or dating website to flirt with a woman, and he was rejected in a disrespectful way based on his height. A woman that he flirted with online, probably told him that he should kill himself because he's 5 feet tall. That is close to what he referenced in the Bagel Boss footage. So that's probably what happened. In the video that I'm responding to, Emmett came across as being another normie propagandist.
The best part of that particular interview is when the Bagel Boss's true self-righteousness is displayed for the world to see and to laugh at.
This narrative of people are laughing at you is getting you angry over and over again, and what you did yesterday could lead to a really bad situation. I mean, it really already did. How are you going to do that? How are you going to navigate?
I really don't
the future?
care. My words are this. I'm the modern day prophet. I'm the modern day Martin Luther King. Him, John Lennon to the fullest because they wanted peace. Now listen to me. Listen to me. They got shot because they wanted peace, which is what I want. So if that happens to me, so be it. I'm not changing. I took enough and I'm sticking to it.
As that radio show was happening, coverage of Chris Morgan increased after another Twitter user named MooWorder tweeted, "Boss Bagel Guy has a YouTube channel where he goes to be extremely racist, anti-Semitic, misogynist, and stupid as all get out in public with his real, actual name attached. Somebody ruined this man's life." And what do you know? It's true.
What has he said or done that was extremely racist? There's no footage of him saying or doing anything that is racist. But there is footage of a black hood rat being racist against him though.
I just gave you. You don't know me, cracker. I just gave you $10. Why are you yelling at me like this?
You piece of shit. What? You better run with the white boys. I know you ain't shit. I know you're nobody.
Now we know where we're going.
I know who you are.
This is a racial thing.
I know you.
Chris Morgan is an aficionado of getting into public altercations, which he films and then posts to YouTube, which has his God-given name attached to it. It's there, it's on display for everyone to see. I guess he's trying to inspire sympathy, right? He's going out there, he's being the underdog, he feels like he's being persecuted by society for his height, so he feels like by uploading this stuff to YouTube, he will obviously inspire sympathy. People will obviously take his side. Instead, he's just kind of an asshole. For an example, let's watch this clip of Morgan berating a 7-Eleven worker on the 5th of May, 2019, just a month before the Bagel Boss incident.
The second time I've been asked this question in like 2 weeks. Once at 2 in the morning in Farmingdale at a gas station, and now here. I come in here to get a coffee and to get a donut. It's May 5th, 2019 at like fucking 5:30 in the morning. And this jackass right here asks me what is my height. Now, what do you got to say about that?
The footage of that 7-Eleven confrontation is one of the things that normies are using to discredit Chris's factual remarks about women. Are they fucking kidding me? Pay attention to the footage. The 7-Eleven employee who was wearing the hat apologized while Chris was putting them in check. Then the employee who was wearing the red shirt reminded Chris that his coworker apologized. So all of that confirms that the guy with the hat did ask Chris how tall he is. Which means that Chris wasn't just making the shit up. I'm an extremely short man who has been getting disparaged based on my height for over a decade now. And I know that when people ask a short man how tall he is, they aren't asking in a positive way. They aren't asking that question because they think that it's cool that we are short. They are asking that question out of mockery. So how the fuck was Chris an asshole for berating them when one of the 7-Eleven employees started the confrontation by being disrespectful and unprofessional?
I come in here to give you guys a lot of business, right? A lot of business. I just whoa, hold on a minute. I just bring this to the counter, right? To pay for my shit. You don't say hi, how you doing? The first thing out of your mouth is what's my height? Where are you from? What country are you from?
Okay, boss.
What country are you from?
Okay, I am sorry. Okay, I am sorry. Okay, I am sorry.
I don't believe you, fuck. I don't believe you're motherfucking sorry. What country are you from? How do you like me asking you a question like that? You don't like it, do you? Answer the question. I'm 5 feet tall, 4'11". There you go. Now what? Now what do you get out of the answer? What are you trying to No, answer the question. What are you trying to accomplish? Yeah. What are you trying to accomplish out of asking me a question like that? That pisses me off. What do you gain out of asking me that?
That's a good question.
I told you I'm 4'11", 5 feet. Now where are you from? What country are you from? What country are you from?
Pakistan.
Pakistan?
Really? You know how much money our country gives you? Fucking third world toilet countries? Huh? If it wasn't for our country, you wouldn't be working here.
Were you repulsed by what Chris said about Pakistan? I wasn't. You know why? Because these same people that have an issue with the kind of statements that Chris made about Pakistan, are completely accepting of heightism. Shit like ethnicity and national origin, are protected categories. Height is not a protected category, nor is it commonly frowned upon to disparage people based on it and discriminate against people based on it. Now don't get me wrong, the taller someone is, the more physical advantages they have. I've always acknowledged that biological fact. But height does not determine whether or not someone is a bad person. Nor does it determine a person's willpower, ambition, intellect, interest and emotional capacity. So for the most part, heightism is an invalid prejudice. Especially in what is supposed to be a civilized society where economic structures are evolved and technology is advanced instead of primitive. But people are still accepting of height-based bigotry. It has the same principle behind it that every other form of bigotry does. So either don't be accepting of any bigotry or be accepting of all bigotry. I'm tired of this cherry-picking shit that people do. If you weren't repulsed by Chris being dissed based on his height, then don't be repulsed by what Chris said about Pakistan. Simple as that.
Now, why would you ask me a question like that? I'm a customer coming in here to buy a coffee at 5:30 in the morning, and you ask me what's my height? Why do you ask me that? Why do you want to know that? I'm dying to know, because I've had people ask me this. Why do you want to know? What are you gaining out of that question? What are you gaining out of that?
Go to the police station.
What?
Go to the police station.
For what?
For me.
I'm gonna call them next for harassment, because that's what you're fucking doing.
Me.
You're harassing me.
Alright.
What if I came up to the counter and go, I don't like foreigners, what country are you from? Would you like me to ask you that question? Would you? If I came up to the counter, do you want?
He's a sorry.
Do you want?
He's a sorry. He's a sorry.
Again, the guy with the hat apologized, which means that he did in fact ask Chris how tall he is. Now you can say that Chris overreacted. But I find it very unlikely that the motherfucker would have apologized if Chris had not went off on him. Most people think that it's perfectly okay to make fun of, disparage and bully short men because we are short. Yet we're wrong if we put people in their place, right? It's cute and funny to talk trash to short men, but we aren't supposed to say anything back. Fuck that.
Fortunately, there's very little else from before the Bagel Boss video. He's cleaned out most of his backlog, but what you find on his channel now, as we speak, is pretty much par for the course for what used to be there. Morgan has a bit of a frustrating sex life, we'll say that. And he likes to release that frustration by publishing these rant videos towards the females of the species. Let's watch one more clip.
It's Chris the Bagel Boss. I'm going to be rich. I'm already famous, and all you bitches that ever use me fucking hate it.
But Morgan wasn't gonna allow himself to be humiliated. So the Bagel Boss continued to reach out to media outlets to spread his gospel. At this point, it's only been 2 days since the Bagel Boss incident. Not long after the discovery of Chris Morgan's YouTube channel by a Twitter user, the Daily Mail published an article after having received some statements from Chris Morgan extrapolating on his reasoning behind the outburst at the Bagel Boss. Here are some excerpts from the article. I got to the point where I'd had enough. The girls hate me. They don't like me. That's fine. Now I have a mission. I'm not stopping, and the world is gonna hear me. I want equality for everybody. What the fuck? He goes on. I'm just not tolerating this anymore. Some of those girls found it funny. That's why I have resentment towards women. I find them all to be stupid, gold-digging liars. It was the big boys all the women go for. They jumped me. The women didn't say nothing. They keep on choosing the wrong men. Is that all women want? Tall and with a big you-know-what? That is a Napoleon complex if I've ever seen one.
No, it sounds like an accusation that is close to being true. Statements that are made by women themselves prove that what Chris said was valid. The only reason why I said his accusation is close to being true, instead of completely true, is because women also want men who are financially well off so that they can freeload off of them. Women also want men who have a lot of high-profile friends and social popularity so that their social networks can increase by being with popular men. So good genetics is not the only thing that women want a man to have, but the notion that women are shallow scumbags is definitely true. Emmett's groundless ad hominem claim didn't disprove anything that Chris said.
Do you think people target you because they see you just as an easy target? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course they do. And when I say that, they act stupid. Oh, you just have a Napoleon complex. Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, yeah, and I'm going to come out with a shirt like that and be a fucking millionaire. You know?
The following day, the 13th of July, another video is released of Chris getting into an altercation with a couple of people at a bar over his height. Let's watch.
All you girls go for the big bullies. You know what? Big tough guy ragging on me.
Are you kidding me?
Why would she make that shit up? Ask her.
What do you think I said? I don't know what you said.
She heard it loud and day.
What I say?
Now I'm getting serious. Anybody else want to rag on my height? She said you open your mouth and she open his fucking mouth.
Me?
Yeah. That's what she said. She said she heard you say it and you said something. Both of you.
Either this was simply a case of just a little too much alcohol, or Morgan was trying to lean into his brand. That's what I suspect.
That video of Chris getting into an altercation at a bar was released before July 13th. And the incident happened before the Bagel Boss incident. So how was this a case of Chris trying to lean into his brand? What brand did he have before the Bagel Boss confrontation? I think that Emmett's Chris Morgan video is a case of Emmett trying to be a propagandist. The black woman that was part of the argument told Chris that two of the guys in that bar said something about Chris's height. By the way, Chris was accused of being racist when people found out about the videos that were on his YouTube channel. But the black woman in the bar video called one of those white guys a cracker.
You can't call me anything, you fucking cracker.
It looked to me like the woman instigated the confrontation. Even if two of those guys did say something ignorant about Chris's height, that racist black bitch could have just minded her business instead of telling Chris about it. Yet the only person who was rampantly criticized for the argument was Chris. Go figure.
In cases like these, public curiosity and media attention would normally fade after 2 or 3 days, but Chris's incessant public outbursts led one particular media outlet to dig a bit deeper into Morgan's life. On the 15th of July, now 5 days after the Bagel Boss incident, New York news website Eater published a succinct list of interesting facts about the Bagel Boss. One fact in particular sticks out. At the time of the article's release, Chris Morgan was living in a van in the parking lot of a deli. Nino's Deli, if we're being specific. He did, however, own his own cleaning business, which was presumably unsuccessful given his living situation.
What's crazy is that Chris Morgan is described as being the angry bagel store guy. Yet he's uploaded videos that show him doing things that didn't have shit to do with confrontation. In most of the footage where he expressed anger, he was being treated badly in those cases. Don't you think that the two things are connected? Or is it just some strange coincidence? Virtually nobody takes kindly to being treated like shit by people. But normies think that short men are lesser than everyone else and therefore, should just take it on the chin. We shouldn't dare retaliate and disrespect people who are genetically superior to us. Even if they consistently disrespect us. You see, when women and normie men are disrespected and react to that disrespect in a belligerent way, that's them standing up for themselves. When short men do the same thing, we have a Napoleon complex. When women and normie men take themselves seriously and want other people to take them seriously, that's confidence. When short men take ourselves seriously and want other people to take us seriously, that's us being angry people who are just trying to compensate for our lack of height. So most of Chris Morgan's haters are ignorant pieces of shit. Don't be fooled by their buzzwords and deflections. Watch this bit of footage.
Stay out of the area, sir. We'd like all patrons to move to the front just in case, you know. Thank you.
You thought it.
Notice how the so-called angry bagel store guy didn't appear to get angry at that female employee who told him to move to the front of the building? How come? I mean, he's a bitter and angry short man, right? Maybe he didn't get mad at her because she spoke to him in a respectful manner? She also said, all patrons, meaning that she wasn't singling him out because of his height. At Bagel Boss and at 7-Eleven he was disrespected, so he got angry. In this footage he wasn't disrespected, so he didn't get angry. See how it works?
But Chris's luck was about to turn around, or so he thought. That same day, Morgan signed a contract with Damon Feldman, a celebrity boxing promoter, to organize a fight featuring the infamous Angry Bagel guy in Atlantic City. The fight was slated to take place in September, and Morgan was promised a 5 to 6 figure payout according to TMZ. I wouldn't trust that though. His opponent wouldn't be formally announced until the 16th of August during an episode of Sports Gambling Podcast. Chris Morgan would be entering the ring with Lenny Nails Dykstra. So the card was set, and the two washed up men prepared for their fight on the 28th of September. But Chris couldn't quite stay out of trouble. Only 2 days after the formal announcement about Dykstra's involvement in the celebrity boxing match, Morgan filmed and posted another video of himself getting into a physical altercation with the public. While at a casino, Morgan claims to have been called out of his room by 2 women who wanted to hang out with him. The aftermath is actually pretty sad. Let's take a look.
You guys call me an idiot. Call me a 2 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Put your hands on her one more time.
Fuck you. Punch me again. Punch me again. I'll knock you right out.
I swear to God, you put your hands on her.
Come on. You calling me at 2:30 in the fucking morning?
Hold on, I've got the video. Oh my god. I can't. I will never get tired of this.
What kind of bastard laughs at a situation where a big person starts a physical fight with a small person? How fucked up is Emmett? If that coward who struck Chris had started a fight with a woman, nobody would laugh at that. But it's funny to assault a small man?
His high kicks are low kicks, just by default. And look at Pai Mei over there. He's got his drink, and he doesn't spill a drop. And he still beats the shit out of Chris Morgan. Oh, come on guys, he's trying his best. He really is. He's doing the best he can.
Emmett and other normies find footage like that to be funny. During the Vietnam War, short Vietnamese men killed thousands of tall French men and killed thousands of tall American men. Was that funny too? Normal-sized people and tall people are physically superior to us, but they are not invincible. There are ways for short men to kill them. But unfortunately, doing so would likely lead to a lifelong prison sentence. Yet when normies assault us, the legal system only gives them a slap on the wrist. Some get away with it altogether. But we would get life if we wasted them for coming at us with aggression. So don't be fooled by their smug laughter and violent hostility. At the end of the day, the police and the criminal injustice system is what protects them from short men, not their height.
Not only is it sad that Chris can't seem to stay out of trouble, this particular performance does not bode well for his upcoming fight, which is, at this point, only weeks away. Still, Chris posted the video hoping to rally his audience, only to have, as usual, the audience turn on him. Oh shit, I left a comment there. What the hell, I had no idea I wrote that. As embarrassing as that video of Chris kicking a man helplessly in a casino at 2:30 in the morning is, it managed to garner a lot of attention after a retweet from everybody's favorite YouTuber, Keemstar. Touting a view count of just under 75,000, Clout Chasers was a bit of a hit, and it brought a lot of attention to Morgan's fight with Dykstra in the coming weeks. In a bit of a pathetic demonstration, Morgan can be seen responding to Keemstar's tweet about his public brawl, saying, "Thanks for the retweet, Keemstar. You're a legend. Are you gonna have me on your show or what? Hashtag drama alert." I tried to look around to see if Keemstar ever gave the Bagel Boss a spotlight, but I came up empty. Another reply to Keemstar's tweet offered a bit of a clearer glimpse into the situation, with user Spanish Bobby saying, and I quote, "That was me in the video, and Stevo, the guy that punched him, was defending me because he kept asking me for a kiss, LML. I don't want to get to believe women in this video, but based on some of Chris's behavior later in this story, I completely believe that he was sexually harassing this woman, which led to the fight.
If Spanish Bobby was one of the 2 women that was begging to hang out with Chris, despite not having any sexual or romantic interest in him, then that would be Chris getting harassed. And look at the type of woman that we are talking about. Spanish Bobby is clearly a ghetto piece of shit. And probably a thought. So I wouldn't put it past her. She even admitted that she is trash and said that she doesn't know why some people like her. Of course the answer is that they like her because she is an attractive woman. In American culture, degeneracy is dominant. So being an attractive person makes you more likable than being a civilized person who has integrity and a moral compass. But nobody should believe someone like her when she claims to have been sexually harassed. Not unless there's actual evidence that she was. And in this case, there wasn't. I'm aware that a lot of Chris's antics after the Bagel Boss incident have been to maintain the notoriety that he recently earned and to be a popular media personality for years to come. That's obvious. And honestly, I can't say that it's the right thing for him to do, considering how serious of an issue that heighdism is in society. But considering how much disparagement and discrimination that men like me and him endure, I'm almost certain that his initial recordings, as well as the bagel store anger, was genuine. I like the points that he made in that 7-Eleven video and the fact that he said things that needed to be said. Just like he said things that needed to be said, in the Bagel Boss situation. Women and normie men need to know that the way they treat us is unacceptable. Chris Morgan drew some mainstream attention to an issue that incels have been talking about for years. An issue that has always been swept under the rug. So Chris Morgan made a positive contribution to society.
Years ago, I had a Toyota Corolla, and it had an oil leak. The car seized on the Sagda Coast by Pioneer Drive. The wheel tightened up and everything, the car died. I was living in Selden at the time, about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, and so I was on foot everywhere I fucking walked, whether it was the post office, the gym, the supermarket, to go to work. Luckily, I didn't work too far away, about a 25-minute walk. I would carry my groceries all the fucking way home, a mile, and puke in the fucking summertime. Then I had a wagon I'd throw my fucking laundry in and have to walk that shit to about 2 miles to the laundromat. Then I finally got a car. There was an AutoZone employee coming out of the parking lot on Middle Country Road, and he just started to go. He hit me at like maybe 5 miles an hour. I saw him coming. I'm on my bike. I said, oh, fuck. He hit me with his car. I'm on my bike. I rolled and stood right up. I only felt nauseous for maybe a minute. Told him to just get the fuck out of here. Because when he pulled out, I saw the whole thing. He wasn't looking towards me. He only looked to the left. By the time he looked, he already was driving, and that's when he realized he was going to hit me. And then a week later, when I left work at night at this country club as a prep cook, the ground went down like this with speed bumps. Well, stupid me doesn't slow down. I must have hit the shit at about 25, 30 miles an hour, lost control, dislocated my foot. I'll post those pictures up next for you. That was all in 1 week, and I got robbed by 2 friends, $400 out of my house. So the never say die spirit attitude in me, okay, is, I get that from my parents. I get it from watching wrestling and being one tough little crazy son of a bitch. And I never gave up, and I kept getting up. And I'm still dealing with a lot of you people's negative comments asking me dumb shit. My height, this, that, shove it up your fucking ass. It's stupid, it's old, and I'm tired of listening to it. Get a life for those of you who can't stand me. You don't know a goddamn fucking thing about me. I've donated money. Before I became famous, I've helped a lot of people monetarily. I've fed them. So any of you don't like me, shove it up your fucking asshole and twist it, okay? That's what I'm gonna say. Get your shit. Get like the rapper Burner says, step your life up for the haters. Step your life up. Don't hate me, okay? You ain't heard half of the shit I've been through, okay? But that's probably some of the biggest highlights of shit. Hit by a car on my bike, fell off my bike, broke my foot that had to be reset, okay? In 1 week and got robbed $400. So I never gave up. I went to school as long as a doctor. I've never given up. Busted my ass. I deserve this break, and I'm going to roll with it. We're going to continue to roll with it. And all those that thought of you that I should have been gone, not in the spotlight, fuck you. Fuck you. Suck my dick. I'm not going anywhere. I got the best team working for me around the clock, making all this happen with my talent, our brains, our ideas. We're not going fucking nowhere. So let this be a lesson to you. I've been through more hell than most of the average person. And I'm still fucking here to talk about it. It's a triumph story. One day I'm going to make a movie. It is a triumph story. Okay? It really is a true novelty story. It's amazing. And I'm living fucking proof of it. As again, I am the modern day prophet, the modern day Martin Luther King, the fucking ultimate warrior of social media. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
To any normies who see this video, you motherfuckers really do need to check yourselves. Because when people like me check you, we're told that we are wrong for doing that. We face censorship and legal consequences for doing that. All of that height that you ignorant fucks have, has got you thinking that you're above treating short men with the same respect that you treat normal size people with. So when people like me and Chris Morgan remind you that you're not, don't accuse us of having a Napoleon complex. Don't be punks and call the police as if you're victims. Don't use mainstream media outlets to spread propaganda and manipulate the general public into believing that we are the bad guys. Instead, be mature and acknowledge your disrespectful fuckery. Take your own advice. Stop playing victim. Acknowledge that you were in the wrong and change your behavior so that you don't cause confrontations. Become a better person. Because there's plenty of evidence that heightism is a real problem in America and that most of the victims of it are short men. Which is why discrediting victims of heightism is an extremely tall order. So when you normies try to do that, y'all will always come up short.